Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think I startled Brian with the intro music on that one.
That was like a freaking jump scare right there.
It's not okay, so note to self, because we're starting to play the music live in our recording platform, just to like see how it goes. And apparently if I have it at full volume for us listening to it, it's a touch overpowering. So
Might be just a little too much. I don't know.
okay.
It might just be me.
Maybe. Welcome to
That
Follow
got me good.
Focus. Yeah. Welcome to Follow Focus, where we are just trying to jump scare each other constantly. And Brian is already jumping in.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, what was
Wait,
that?
what battery is this? This is my handle.
Oh,
With our
gotcha.
with the monitor mount thing?
Oh, you put the monitor mount thing on there.
Well, I just put it on there just because I was like, oh, this is the same locking pin and situation. So let me just put it on there because I have ADHD. So
Yeah, but that might actually work
that's what I'm trying to say. But I
that could
don't
just
have
go
a
directly
thread.
to. Oh, because that's only a shoe mount. Yeah, this was a big toy week for you.
Yeah,
A lot of little things. Nothing like nothing that's gonna break the bank. But you got a lot of little things to upgrade stuff. So the monitor mount was one of them, which is
yeah. This one,
that's
the
the
small
small
rig,
rig.
whatever monitor mount thing, shoe monitor mount.
It's like cold shoe mount on the bottom, and
Yep.
then like it's an articulating thing, and then it goes up to a 1/4 inch thread with a locking pin to attach a monitor to like the top of a rig. It's pretty much what it's purpose built for.
Yep.
Um, and
And I
works
bought
great.
two and gave you one because
Which I
I'm a
greatly
good
appreciate,
friend.
because I actually ended up using it for my my little 40-watt Xeon light. Um,
Did it work well?
it worked great.
Good.
Used it on our night shoot that we were on the other night. Because that's the one thing about my little 40-watt Xeon panel is like it's. I don't think it's necessarily meant to work as an on-camera light. It's like a little bit bigger, and it doesn't. The big thing is it doesn't have a shoe mount, which is annoying. It just
Yeah,
has a 1/4 inch thread. So what I've been doing is actually using a small rig magic arm to
that's right. You were telling me about the
attach
magic
it. But
arm.
like I don't need the distance, so I would have it basically like magic arm connects here and then like branches out, doubles back on itself, and then goes to the light. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very like it was just awkward. It added a lot of like
Unnecessary.
unnecessary and had this like arm sticking out to the side and making it so I got caught on things. But the shoe mount worked great for it. So it's just, on the side of my handle now, and that worked great. You actually thought that it was we thought for a moment that it was broken.
Oh yeah, when I was playing with it in my car after we were about to leave from meeting up and doing some emails and stuff, I'm sitting here playing with it in my car, and I'm like, okay, this thing does not like articulate or move or do anything at all. It has a little whatever tightening screw right here on the side. And I
Hmm.
was like, there's nothing happening. And then I like manhandled this thing, and it definitely does. It moves and articulates and all that, but it's like stiff, which
It
is
is
good, especially
tensioned.
if you have a big monitor or whatever. I mean, if I put the handle to it, like you kind of don't want it to be able to move that easily and that freely.
Yeah,
And
because
again,
you're gonna have leverage on it when you're actually
yeah,
adjusting it.
you put a monitor on this, you have way more, like you just said, leverage to like move it back and forth and the whole science thing of what's the thing called?
Just levers.
There's a word for this part on the lever. I don't remember.
Fulcrum. Is it fulcrum? That is
Sure.
that is
That
a
sounds about
word
right.
having
That
to do
sounds
with
about right.
levers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. They were like $20, $25 or something like that.
It's
And
not bad.
I lost the little cold shoe piece for my my monitor now. Actually, I'll grab it. Ready? We'll do a live demonstration here.
Oh gosh, this always goes well.
So I have the Atmos 5, right? Cool, great monitor. I bought a. It's actually funny. It's another small rig, cold shoe. Oh, nice. The thread's coming out with the screw. That's good. You'd think it would be like reverse threaded, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, I don't like those like locking. I understand
Yeah.
why they're there, but they're always a little
So
annoying to me.
this which is Small Rig's cheaper baby brother version of this.
Just like a little ball joint
Right.
thing. Yeah.
It has the thread in the bottom for the cold shoe to be threaded into.
Mm.
Well, my monitor didn't fit on my shoulder rig. It covered up or it wasn't when I was using it on my shoulder rig, it was like this while I was viewing it
Yeah.
because that's as best as I could do. So I took the cold shoe off. I don't remember where this came from. It's another small rig extension thing, whatever, right? I put this on my rails like this, right into my rails,
Mm.
and then or like this because the screw. And then I unscrewed the cold shoe, screwed that onto there, and then screwed this onto here, and it gave me enough room to make it level. So I'm not looking at the screen like this, trying to shoot with my shoulder rig. It was
It's
the whole
that
thing.
easy. All it
That
takes is
easy.
like 4 different
Yeah.
adapters and
Right, exactly. So the whole reason I bought this one is because I can't find the cold shoe. And I didn't think about buying a new cold shoe. I just was like, oh, I'll buy a whole new thing. Yeah. Anyways,
I mean, that's a lot more. It's more purpose built. It's designed to hold the weight.
dude, I saw more about the Atmos phone. That's
Oh,
like
the Ninja phone thing. Yeah, we
Ninja
talked about
phone.
that like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. That's really neat.
that's legitimately cool.
Like,
Oh gosh, you just knocked your microphone with that. Oh god.
there you go, audio viewers and listeners.
Oh jeez.
That's what
Is
you get
that
for
with the?
scaring me with the intro.
Yeah, that's fair. Is that with the cage or
No.
you haven't gotten the
Oh, the
cage yet?
cage. Yeah, oh yeah, I have it.
Oh, here he goes again.
So, fun fact. I pulled a Cameron and I lost my monitor. I forgot where I put it down, right?
What does that mean? You pulled a Cameron because
Because
you
you can't
lost
remember where you put things.
I didn't
That
realize
was
this was a thing that I was known for in your book.
Yeah, it is now. The monitor was I have another table over here that is like my you know how everybody has a junk drawer
Mhm.
in their kitchen? Well, that's my junk table for all my camera gear and extra accessories and things.
Right.
Well, the monitor was on the table face down and my brain couldn't see it. So, I got this whole setup and everything and I just couldn't find my monitor when this was literally like right next to it because I put it on the table.
Right.
So yeah,
But you've got a cage for the Atmos now, which
I've
is
got a
going to
cage
be.
for the Atmos.
We were talking a little bit. So this is an update on. I think this was just last episode. We were talking about the whole our like grand plan of like, could we have an iPad that basically works as like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like an AC mobile command center thing with the Blackmagic app and potentially using the Orion app to use the iPad as an HDMI monitor. And we were like, this will totally work if both apps can work in split screen on the iPad. I tested that, and neither apps work in split screen on the iPad.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, the idea of the
kinda
iPad
sucks.
being like an all-in-one control and monitor surface is a little bit dead. But
Yeah, we lost.
we,
we
we
lost that
lost
battle.
we lost that unfortunately. Any
Yeah.
developers out there, or if anyone knows of any other apps that work, I don't think there are any other HDMI viewing apps or Blackmagic control apps. But if there are, or if anyone wants to, if the developers are watching, adding split screen
Be
control would
cool.
be truly amazing.
Really cool.
Regardless, this cage for your Atmos really opens up some interesting possibilities because you have so many mounting points on the monitor now. So we were
Yes.
talking about, putting some side handles on it so you can carry it around, and then having like a phone grip attached to it for the control, the Bluetooth with the Bluetooth app for the Blackmagic cameras, and then attaching like a little mini V-mount battery and an HDMI wireless receiver to the back of it. That then becomes your whole mobile AC thing, which potentially, like in theory, could work really well.
Don't mind me, I'm just putting it together.
Oh, I know. It's like an ASMR
Can
episode.
you hear it?
Oh, absolutely, I can hear it.
Okay, so I found a flaw.
Is this the cage that you're installing?
Yeah,
actively?
this is the cage. Yeah, sorry, I have a black shirt and everything's black.
Should have thought of this.
I don't know. Next time, no more black shirts. Okay. So I found a flaw, which is okay. We can work with this
Yeah.
somehow. Mounting points are top, bottom, and right side.
Nothing on the left?
Left side is the clamp to hold the HDMI in.
Oh, because that's where all the I/O is.
Yeah. So
So you're thinking of like if we wanted like the double side by side.
yeah, like a double handle, but I guess you could, for now, like hold it with the HDMI coming through.
Or even just like a
fingers or
single
something.
handle, because the thing can't be that heavy. And you would want a hand free to like be adjusting things anyway. So there's potential. More development time is needed before we
Yeah.
go to
Well,
production.
I also
but
have this too.
what is that? It's another black thing in front of your black shirt. What is that?
I don't exactly know how it goes on.
Oh, is it like a Velcro cover
Oh.
thing?
It's it's like a hood.
Oh, that's right. You got the hood for it.
I guess it goes like this. We don't read instructions, so
Never. Especially not before we go live on a podcast to talk about the thing.
Well, sometimes I think our podcast is ADHD.
It definitely is.
It's a very nice little shade here.
It looks nice. And that was a separate. Is that also small rig or is that a separate?
So no, this is not small rig. None of this is small rig. This is called Andy Cine.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a cheap one.
well, good job, Andy.
Yeah, Andy did well so far. I'm probably doing this really wrong, but here's the gist.
Oh, that looks right. Yeah,
It
that's
looks
on
right,
there.
but it's totally not on here the right way.
Well, it looks good. That's all that matters.
But that definitely will. That's like well big enough to cover the sun.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
At any angle. My light isn't hitting it anywhere. Like I have to almost point it at the light for it to hit it.
Yeah. So
So
that thing's good size.
yeah. Anyways, new toy. Love
New
it.
toy. Now, the biggest thing that you did though, which
Oh.
I honestly was somewhat nervous for you to do.
Oh, the other thing.
The other thing. The big thing. I was not skeptical. Skeptical isn't the right word. I was nervous because I had heard of this thing before. It is a wonderful little device that involves taking your camera apart. So like I have now seen through an image that you texted me, I have seen the literal guts of your camera. I have seen the motherboard at the core of your Pocket 6K.
Listen, I didn't film anything for it with the GoPro because I was like, if I mess this up, I don't want to be able to rewatch what I did.
Well, and you need to focus on something.
I was dialed in. So
yeah, before we go any further, we should explain what exactly this thing is. I don't want to call it a monstrosity, but it feels kind of monstrosity-ish.
Okay, so we know that Brian just has the basic Blackmagic 6K OG, not the second version, not the Pro, not any of that fun stuff, right? Super lame. I get it. I got the Atmos when I had the S5. S5 had a fully articulating screen, flipped out, spun, did whatever, right? But it was like 2 inches, like it was a little tiny thing. So I got the Atmos, and then I could also record externally ProRes 420 or something like that, with the S5. Whole thing, right? With the Blackmagic, my OG 6K, the screen doesn't move. It's locked in, doesn't go anywhere. So I always have to have the monitor. Well, not always, but
not always,
majority of the time.
Because like on the 6K Pro, the monitor has articulation, but it's only a vertical tilt. So it can go up or down. But that is sort of like, I would consider kind of the bare minimum of what you need. Because then if you're shooting down low, or if you're shooting up high, you can still see what you're doing. Like the side to side thing or whatever is like, that's fine, but you really need that vertical.
Yeah. So with the external monitor, it, extra cables, more battery power, all the fancy things that if you're just solo shooting, you have to carry all this extra stuff.
It's a
Not
thing.
super fun,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's a whole thing. Um, so I have seen this product. I sent it to you like a few months ago, just being
Yeah.
like, look how crazy this is, and then, oh, it's discontinued, right?
And I had heard of it
Yeah.
before as well.
And I also saw like a third party company, not Tilta, a third well, it's called Tilta Ing, whatever that means. Um
It means it is legally
so
distinct from Tilta.
yeah. So there was another third party company that was doing this, that were sending out the kits and doing whatever, but they were like on a Kickstarter. It's like a whole thing, like you had to put the money in and do whatever. So I
Mhm.
was like, it's not worth it because I don't want to pull my camera apart for a piece of equipment that I wouldn't really trust yet if it's a
Sure.
Kickstarter whole thing, right? Like I trust beta softwares from like Adobe and stuff,
Sure.
but not like beta modifications from a random person in Utah. You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially I took the whole thing apart. It was an hour and a half long video. It probably took me about an hour and 45 minutes like to fully go through the whole thing, right?
Okay.
And I just magically learned a lot about the camera, just so you know. It's a very intimate experience there. A
Uh-huh.
lot of screw holes that you have no idea about.
This is the
Um
equivalent of saying, by the way, this is like saying that you got to know your significant other very intimately because you performed open heart surgery on them yourself.
yeah, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. That literally I added an extremity to my significant other camera. So, um
Uh-huh.
essentially you take the shell apart, right? Unscrew everything, take the shell apart, and the shell is exactly as you think. Like it's literally perfectly split in half and it has one ribbon cable that connects the back half, which is all monitor, and the front half which is all brain and sensor and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So it's just a little ribbon cable that holds that together. So pull that apart, pop that ribbon cable. Now your camera is literally split in half.
Mhm.
Um, and the scariest part, after I unscrewed the heat shield and did all the stuff, um, like the scariest part was I had to take heat to it to take the adhesive off the edges of the screen.
Oh gosh.
So the bezel, whatever the word is, um, around the screen, like that's not actually the body of the camera. There's a black, you know, quarter-inch rectangle piece of plastic. There's screen under there, just so you know. Like when you see my screen, you'll be like, "Holy crap, this screen's like 5 inches wide." Um, but
So it's
essentially,
actually bigger now.
it
If kind
it's
of.
bigger, but the viewing space is the same, but the glass is like you see the whole thing, right?
Gotcha.
So it looks bigger, right? Um, essentially, you take the heat all the way around the edge, a precision knife, all that, cut the adhesive, whatever. That comes off, has a bunch of ribbon cables on the back. You add a little plate to the back of that has like an extension and like all these different things, I guess, essentially. And put a plate in between the front of the camera and the back of the camera. So then you sandwich it all together, plug things in the back there, and now you have a camera that has a screen that completely articulates all the way around over top of the other side of the camera and also does everything the 6K Pro uh, screen does. Articulates out, down, tilts, everything.
So you can essentially flip this thing up over the top and have like a selfie view,
Yeah, but it's upside down
but
because
it's upside down.
yeah, the so literally so it is a Tilta screen, just so
Mhm.
you know. but the sub logo is Tilta ing, like Tilta ing. It is like the
Interesting.
branding all over the place. So essentially, they thought that Blackmagic was going to pick them up and support completely altering your camera with third-party stuff and allow you to flip your screen upside down when it opens up.
That was a very optimistic view.
Very bold.
Yeah.
Very bold. Because you cannot do that, and this product is discontinued.
Probably that was probably the fact that Blackmagic did not pick it up and support it is probably
it's probably the reason.
it's probably a decent reason of why that was the case.
Yeah.
To their credit, and to your credit, actually, I would say more so because
thank
you
you
didn't brick your camera. It worked.
No, it worked. It works great.
And the other thing that it adds, which is actually kind of cool, is that because you have this like well of space behind the screen now for like all the arms articulation, you have like a slot where you can plug in an M.2 drive.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it has a whole cage and heat sink and everything.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a cool idea.
I didn't install, so it has like a little a bridge. So it has 2 male USB-Cs now. Like there's an additional USB-C port on my camera. Okay. And it's right next to the old one. It essentially, they send you a thing that you just push pin into it, and it's a bridge that bridges it over into another male USB-C that's behind the screen that their little M.2 SSD thing just slots into. I'm not using it because I don't have any M.2s to put in there.
Yeah. But I mean it's an interesting idea. And like to your credit,
and it's hidden behind the camera. I don't have to like
that's pretty cool.
They're behind the screen, so I wouldn't have to like mount it anywhere and do all that. So it is like super cool and beneficial if I didn't already have 3 SSD drives, USB-C SSD drives that I already have a mount for and all that kind of stuff.
So did you just not install the like bridging thing? So you still have
so you still have a USB-C port.
So you still use that like normal. Okay, cool. Yeah. That was the thing that I was wondering when you showed me the imagery. I was like, this is cool, but it looks like it blocks off your like existing port if you do it.
It does. It completely converts it into male USB. Yeah. Female?
No, I think male because like
it converts it female. Male has the black pin, and then the one next to it has the black pin, and then inside is female, and then this is male.
That's so weird.
I don't know.
It's very weird. When you were explaining this whole thing to me, I was like, this really sketches me out.
Yep. And you didn't say anything about it, so I just went for it.
Technically, I said maybe we wait until because we're like what, a month out from maybe getting a Pyxis. Like maybe wait until you have that, just in case you brick your camera. I did say that.
And then what did we say?
I don't remember what was said after that.
We said, well, maybe this will be the reason that we get it.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So you spent $150 to force us into spending like $3,000.
Almost. Not yet.
Not yet.
It hasn't broke yet, so.
And it all worked. It seems to be working fine. Yes. So it's a fascinating thing. Now I have to ask, because you have worked on like iPhones doing repairs. You've done screen swaps. Did you do battery swaps on them or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done everything.
So
I've done chip replacements. I've done micro soldering.
So you've done like intense stuff like this before. How did this process compare to something like a battery swap on an iPhone?
So batteries suck on iPhones.
But
Um,
that's the closest thing I can think of because you're like really rooting around in the guts
yeah,
with that.
I think the level of, I would say an iPhone battery would be like 7 out of 10 on the
Okay.
difficulty, so not like impossible, but like you definitely have to kind of know what you're doing or just
Hmm.
have the balls to do it. Um, but this was it was definitely easier. So purpledonutstudios.com, you can ship us your camera, we'll do it for you. Can't guarantee anything, so you're putting yourself at risk. But
Didn't they say that
uh,
they charge like you could ship your camera to them and have them install it for you, but it was like
yeah, like $500. But that was like when it was sold by them and produced by them and like all that kind
I
of stuff.
highly doubt you could even like pay them to
Yeah,
do it anymore.
yeah. There's no way. There's no shot. So it was definitely there. There was the risk was higher,
Hmm.
right? Um, because again, we don't. I mean, we kind of do have a second camera now with the 5D, but it's not really like a Blackmagic, you know.
No, and also
So
can only record to CF cards. So
now, yeah,
we could.
but I could
So
get it off of USB.
can you record directly to USB on that thing?
No, I'd have to get it off of the CF card
Got
via
it.
USB because I don't have the thing. Yeah, so
Got it.
that was a whole thing. It's fine. And it's on like the original firmware. It's on like 1.1.
Oh
I
wow.
found that out. Yeah, they're on like 1.6. So they haven't gone too far. But
I don't know, 1.1 to 1.6, especially for a company like Canon. Like Blackmagic, that wouldn't be as big of a thing because they have pretty regular software updates. Canon's all
which
the
is the thing I
others,
have to look at. I haven't updated my camera in a while. Have they pushed any recently?
not that I've seen, because
Oh,
we
okay.
went to the beta version so that we can do like the webcam viewing for this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw a few other cool things we just kind of found, like the fact that they have an actual grid view for looking at your recorded clips now
Oh, that's
is
so nice.
so nice. Like
So nice.
that was the one thing about the Blackmagic that was used to be such an annoyance for me was if I wanted to check and like review my clips, I never figured out how to do that easily. The
No.
UI was really bad for it.
And you would hit the little play button to do the playback, and then sometimes it'll show up as like all of your clips in one timeline, so you could like scrub through all the clips. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, or you can like double tap something and it just focuses in on that one clip, and then it was like impossible to get out of the playback screen.
yeah.
So you had to hit record and start recording like a 3-second clip, and then it'll kick you back to the actual play. Yeah, there's a whole thing.
It was really not good. It
It's
is
way
so
better
much
now.
better.
Yeah.
So much better now.
Yeah, it
uh,
actually works the way it should.
it actually works the way you would expect it to.
No. Yep.
Um, yeah, so I appreciate that. But no, I don't think they have anything new. I know that they announced some new stuff about like, new Blackmagic Cloud features
Mm.
at Cinegear, which we were looking at a whole bunch of stuff. You actually we were on the phone when I was driving back from a shoot last week, I think, talking about the
Oh, yeah.
C400.
I dropped the C400 on you. You were like, "Wait, what?" I was
Yeah,
like,
because I had been on a
"Yeah."
shoot from like I'd been on a shoot from like I think I got there at like my call time was at 3 and I only got out at like 10 or 10:30.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking at this whole thing, and I was like, "This thing's pretty sweet. The little C400 is pretty sweet, dude."
It's pretty nice
Yeah.
looking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been seeing a whole bunch more stuff about
The
coming out about it.
triple
Triple native
native is the
ISO.
craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that one of the native things is
12,800 or something. Yeah.
12,800. What do you
Yeah.
even do with that?
You are just sitting in a cellar and you're like, "Here, let me just bump this to 12,800." Okay, yeah.
Seriously. I will
Yeah.
say though, something that I saw coming out of Cinegear, which I was very intrigued by. Let me see. Let me pull it up because I can to make sure that
This is the segment where we start pulling things up.
this is the segment where we start pulling things up. So, I'm a big Sigma fan. My
Mhm.
go-to lens is a Sigma 18 to 35 EF mount.
Yep.
They announced at Cinegear a new 28 to 45 millimeter lens.
Was it the one point,
It is
like,
1.8 all the way through.
yeah, 1.8, yep. You know what I
So
saw? I saw, Canon has a 30 to, like, 120 or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Anyways,
That's
keep going with
interesting.
your thing. Yeah.
So no, the fact that it's because so like I used on a shoot the other night, I used your new what is it, 16 to
Oh, 17 to 55.
17 to 55,
Yeah.
that's the one. Used that because it was like more of like an event coverage style shoot and
Yep.
worked great. Having that focal length it was lovely. It was like the perfect range. Um, why do you look so pleased with yourself?
Um, I looked up the Canon lens I was just talking about.
Oh, how
We'll,
much
we'll,
is it?
we'll talk about it. Oh, yeah, you
Okay,
keep going. Yeah.
so
Holy shit.
okay, yeah, that bodes well. So in the realm of Canon lenses that are actually like good and like not that they're not good, that are actually good for the money. Your that focal length was delightful. Being able to go like even just that little bit past 35
Mm-hmm.
was so nice for event coverage. And the only thing that I really missed, because this was an outdoor event at night, so light was really limited. The fact that it didn't go past 2.8 when
Yeah.
my
Yep.
my 18 to 35 will go to 1.8. I missed that a little. It worked, and I think it was a totally worthy trade-off. But then to see this of like 28 to 45, yeah, it doesn't go as wide, but the fact that it's 1.8 all the way through is lovely. Doesn't come in an EF mount. Um,
Trash.
I know.
EF's dead, dude.
Well, I mean, you know, because I
Time to
think
move on.
it comes in a Sony E mount and an L mount, and it's
L
also
mount. Yeah.
yeah, and it's also just under $1,400. So
Oh,
it
that's not
ain't
bad.
it ain't cheap. Um,
But
but I
not
think
terrible for a new lens, a new zoom lens at 1.8.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's part of their Cine line. So it's got it's got the manual like stopped iris ring, and it's
Oh, okay. I saw some things on this. It was like clicky,
yeah
like clicks into place for each stop. That
yeah,
was cool.
which is kind of how like the electronic iris control works. Of like you're going
Yeah.
from point one to point two to point three or whatever. It's got their stability, their image stabilization stuff. And it's all I believe it's an internal zoom. Yeah. So
That's cool.
you could put this on a gimbal and not mess with the balance and go all the way from 24 to 28 to 45. So pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
which is awesome.
Now tell me about this lens that you found, because I have a feeling that the reason you're saying that 1300 and change for this lens is not bad is because you have found a different number for your Canon.
Okay, so it's a new RF lens. All right.
Okay, it's RF,
It's
got
a
it.
17 to 120.
Okay, that's insane.
Yeah. So it's 2.95 to 3.9.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
not terrible, right? It's not
That's
5.6,
yeah, it's not
um
f4.
at
I'll take that.
120. Yeah. Um what would you just ballpark? Just ballpark a lens like that.
Is
RF
it
mount.
is it
So,
an is it L series?
it's Canon's Cine Servo.
Oh, the Cine Servo. Okay, I think I saw. I didn't see pricing. I saw they were showing it on the C400. I think at
Mhm.
Cinegear.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, are we in 4 or 5 digits?
5.
5 digits. Okay. Okay. Are we talking smart car or SUV crossover?
In the middle?
In the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talking like 20 grand?
$24,000.
Ooh, God, that
Yeah.
stings.
Yeah.
So, oh God. So the way that you can justify that is that at that range of focal length, you are replacing like, especially in the cine world, if you're looking at just like primes, you're replacing like 4 or 5 primes with that lens.
So this is really cool because it's like got like an electronic zoom,
Yeah, it's got like the old
like on a
school.
handle.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the old school like news style cameras where you had like the rocker,
Yeah.
or even like the old camcorders where you had the rocker to go zooming in and out, which is nice, I guess. especially for a lens that has that much range. The problem I think with it is the fact that it only, I mean, it's fast. It's a faster lens than it could be. Um, like it could be for that range. It could be so much worse than what? What did you say? 2.9, 2.95.
Yeah, 2.9 to 3 or 2.4 to 3.9, something like that.
Okay, so it's pretty good, but when you consider, it's weird that it's part of their Cine line because people in that world, I think, would rather have a full set of primes that can go to 1.8, give them the depth of field that they're looking for. Um, and they probably don't really care about the electronic servo. That's the thing, is like the electronic motorized zoom feels much more like something you would have in a news environment or a live production environment.
Yeah.
So why is it on a Cine lens? And I hate to tell you this, but people in the news industry will confirm they do not have the budget for a $24,000 lens. 24 grand can get you like a whole new set of studio cameras if you're smart
Yeah.
with your money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That seems
I don't
weird.
know. People will buy it though. So that's the thing. It's like
People
people are
will,
going to buy it.
and I'm very curious who those people are and what they are
Yeah.
using it for. Because like it's a very niche. Like it
Why?
is. Yeah. Why? Like what is the use case what is the problem it is solving for you that nothing else can at that price point? Feels a little weird to me.
Yeah.
But again, that's just me. Everyone has their own use cases. I'm sure it's a fantastic, beautiful lens to work with. Personally, I'd rather have the Sigma for a 20th of the price.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. I don't know. But there was
Yeah.
there was a lot of cool stuff that came out of Cinegear.
Yeah, there was a couple looks at the Pyxis that I saw. There's a couple looks at the new Cine 12K, and
Mhm.
then nobody was able to look at the 17K or whatever. Like it was
That's still
there,
like
but it was in like a glass box.
it's
Like they
still
didn't.
heavily under development, it
Yeah,
seems. That was
yeah,
that was a case of like, hey, we announced it at NAB to show like, yes, we have it working. Um it is coming, but beyond that, like we don't
that's
know.
it. Yeah,
That's all we can really say. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm just like, start shipping the Pyxis. Just start shipping it, please. Oh, and then this was the other big thing. We finally got you into the world of NDs. I feel like the theme of this week is really that you are doing everything you can to get your 6K to a 6K Pro.
yeah. Basically, it's right
Yeah,
there. I have more stops now than you,
you
but that's
do.
fine.
And you have smooth transitioning ND. So this is, for those listening who do not see the toy that Brian is fiddling with now, you've got a variable ND for your matte box.
Yep, for my Mirage.
And it's pretty lovely.
What did I say it was? 9 stops or something like that?
I think, yeah, I think it goes from like 1 to 9 stops, something like that. And I think I go up to like 6, and in increments of 2. So it's like nothing, 2 stops, 4 stops, 6 stops on the 6K Pro. I'm pretty sure. So the fact that you can just like really dial it in to whatever you want, because it's stopless, is lovely. That is
Yeah.
going to be a game changer for you, I think, especially in the context of
Thanks.
like outdoor shooting.
I did it because you complained. It's fine.
See, now you will actually use NDs.
Yeah, maybe. I'll
Nah,
just not use it.
just
I have
to.
to buy another tray though, so I can stack my uh other stuff,
Oh
like my
yeah,
black mist and my lens flare
right.
filter and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely though. I was actually even using my ND at the night shoot that we did, um, because that was a lot of it was outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
at night, where we had some outdoor
At
lighting, but really
night.
not much. I had a light with me that I was using to light up interviews and things, but for the most part, I was just like, I was wide open. I was at 3200 ISO. I'd even like messed with my my shutter speed to get it, as much light as I could possibly get. But then when I went inside, because some of the stuff I would sometimes jump inside for, uh, rather than completely redo all of my settings, because inside was way brighter, and then have to redo them when I went back outside, I would just throw on a couple stops of ND, just so I could get a couple
Mm-hmm.
quick shots, and then when I went back outside, pull the ND off, done. Didn't have to think about it.
Pretty nice.
It's pretty great.
And you just stay at the same settings all
Stay at the
around,
same
essentially.
ISO, yeah. Like, I mean, could I have? Actually, I don't even think it wasn't bright enough inside that I could have gone down to a 400 ISO. I still
Mm.
needed to be at 32. Um,
It's just kind of weird.
which is
Going
kind of
inside.
weird, but
Going inside and having to shoot 32.
yeah, but like the lighting inside wasn't quite, it's a moody lighting in there. You've got a lot of like bright highlights because it's like an arcade setup.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of bright highlights, but the overall lighting is a lot moodier. So yeah, I usually have to be at 3200 when I shoot in there. Anyway. So, which is, I mean, it would be nice, like, triple native ISO would be cool. I don't think that 12,000 whatever is really where I would put it. I would be much happier if it was like, if you had like a 400 native ISO and maybe something a little higher than 3200, say you had like a 4000 native
Mm-hmm.
ISO, and then you had like a 2000 native, something kind of in the middle, would be really nice.
Yeah. I guess they were really trying to hammer down on low light, I think
Seriously.
that's what they're working to solve there.
Yeah, which, I
Because
mean,
I think they were saying it's the first like true cinema box style camera with like a 12,800 or something like that.
I could definitely see that. I think they're also saying it's the first one with a triple base ISO,
Yeah, yeah.
which also believe, because
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was like
Yeah, I told
possible.
you it was triple native. You were like, triple? I was
Yeah,
like, yeah, seriously.
really just did not make any sense to me. Yeah, I'm looking at some of their specs here, and it looks like the 12,800. God, there's no shorthand way of saying it. 12,800 is available when you're shooting Canon log or
Mm,
just raw.
yeah,
For your other stuff, if you're shooting like other standard color ranges, your ISO actually changes. Your native ISO changes. So if you're shooting at BT709 wide,
mm-hmm.
then your base ISO goes to, which actually I like this. Your base ISO changes from 800, 3200, and 12,800 to 400, 1600, and 6400. Now you're not shooting at log when you're at those. So like I would still take log. But if you could shoot log at those numbers, 400, 1600, 6400, that feels like a nice sweet spot for me ISO wise. Those are all
Yeah.
numbers that I would use.
Versus quadruple your
12,800.
second.
I don't understand. I really don't understand what that is for. Also, it has built-in NDs that actually have, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 5 levels of internal NDs that go from there's 0 stops, then you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 stops of neutral density.
Internal, that's crazy. For how the form factor of that, man, is like, how do they pack all that in there?
I don't know, because it's they say it's like a little over a 5-inch cube, so it's really not that. We were just looking at this a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
What is the? I'm going to look at the dimensions of the Pyxis. A Pyxis is just under 5 inches in 2 dimensions, and then it's a little over 5 inches in length. So they're basically the same thing.
like the same. But they couldn't smash in internal NDs. I get it.
I guess not.
Guess Canon's winning. I don't know.
I mean,
Gosh,
triple native ISO and all that stuff. Yeah, sure. Except for the fact that the Pyxis is $5,000 cheaper.
you're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, then there's the dynamic range. What did you say the dynamic range on this was? This was
On the C400?
On the C400, yeah. 16 stops
16 stops, yeah.
compared to the Blackmagic's 13. So you're getting a lot more dynamic range with it. Comes with the like external camera, or sorry, the external monitor. It has a control app, which it looks like actually does um a live video feed too, which is pretty legit. Has Ethernet, which is something that the Pyxis and all the new Blackmagic things have. Timecode and Genlock. It's got a built-in mounting adapter, so you can do PL mount and RF. There's some pretty great stuff with it. I don't know if can you record to an SD card with it, or sorry, to an SSD with it.
It has USB-C.
They only mention CFast. They say that the monitor connects through USB-C to the camera body. So I think you might be only able to record to SD cards and CFast cards, because I don't see any reference to recording through USB-C or to an SSD card. That's a limitation. That's a big limitation. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It just shows the formats and codec. Oh, wait. Footage can only be recorded to CF Express Type B, while proxies are stored onto SD.
Interesting.
Oh, for Cinema Raw Lite. I don't know what that means.
It's one of their codecs.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool that you can do simultaneous full res and proxy recording.
Proxy is nice, yeah.
That saves you on workflow.
So I guess that's the only limitation for that codec. But then the other ones you probably can record to either.
Yeah.
XFHEVCS and XFAVC and AVCS are the other two. It's a cool camera.
It's
I
a
looked
very
at
cool
some
camera.
of the stuff. Really neat. And we also got half bamboozled. I was searching for the Blackmagic 12K, and the 4.6K G2 price was coming up and all kinds of things. It was a whole thing. And then I realized,
got very excited for a hot minute.
I was like, oh snap, this thing's only $6,000. Okay. But I wasn't wrong. The regular mini Pro, so the Ursa Mini Pro 12K is like $6K.
Yeah.
But you can find it for $4 in some places.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool features, a lot of cool things with it. But it's only, what did I say, the native ISO was
800.
800.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
It's not great. And I think I've told you, like, I've cut footage off of that camera before, and I experienced a lot of noise in it. So now I did not shoot that footage, so that could have been a setting thing. But this was in like pretty ideal studio type situations, not in low light. So its low light performance is not going to be nearly what you would what we would experience with our pockets, and then by extension with the Pyxis, something with a 3200 option as a native. I feel like you're actually getting more bang for your buck with something like a Pyxis, or even with a 6K full frame. Granted, you said you can get the 12K for around $4, but like, let's say you're just looking at it at 6, base.
Mm-hmm.
You get 2 Pyxis cameras for that. So, it's, I don't know. It's something that we're still like weighing the options. It's tricky to really confirm, like, yes, we want to get a Pyxis, or no, we want to go for like an Ursa or whatever, when the Pyxis hasn't started shipping yet. No one's gotten their hands on it.
Yeah.
So I think once people start having hands-on, here's like our testing, here's what we can show, here's the images we can get out of it. That's when I think we're gonna feel like, yeah, we can say for sure, like, we're gonna go with the Pyxis, or we're gonna go for, like a secondhand mini Ursa or something like that. Which hopefully we'll be able to say yay or nay to that in the next couple of weeks. I know.
Want something, kid.
I know. We'll get you something soon. Don't worry.
Oh.
Okay.
I've been dying.
I know you have. It's been very amusing to watch. So,
thank you.
I want to wrap up with another edition of What We Learned This Week.
Mm,
Um,
mhm, mhm.
and I myself have this is a rather nerdy one.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Yeah, which you've heard this one before, but I feel like it deserves saying. This is something that comes more from the post side.
Okay,
So
here we go.
so what I discovered, or rather, I knew about it, but I hadn't like done anything with it up until this past week. Was how good of a format H.265 is
Mhm.
for archiving. Now, this is not a brand new idea. I actually got this idea from, he's actually a client of mine who he does a lot of his own production, and I help him with the post stuff sometimes. So he has his own media server and he shoots stuff himself, and he does a great job with it. He was saying that what he does whenever he archives a project is he'll actually take all of his raw footage. Um, and what he does is he records everything. He doesn't have a Blackmagic camera, but he records through like a Blackmagic capture card. So he records in B-RAW. Uh, he will then, when a project is done, he will take all of the footage from that project and he will
Mhm.
convert it to H.265. Which, for those who don't know, there's H.264, which basically every video on the web is in H.264. That has been the standard for years at this point. H.265 is the next generation of that. And you have definitely experienced it before. If you have an iPhone and you remember when they changed their record settings to what they call HEVC, or high efficiency video codec, that's H.265. And they did that a while back before H.265 was supported by like anything. Because I know I had to try to like edit that stuff when people in my old job would send us stuff they recorded on their phones, and it's like, oh cool, this is an H.265 video. Premiere can't open it. Nothing can open it except QuickTime. So I would have to like convert stuff in QuickTime. um, and I say batch, you can't batch convert in QuickTime, so it's one at a time converting. And it would take like 3 times normal speed, like 3 times real time to convert a single clip
Mhm.
on, a Mac Pro. It was so annoying. So I had a bad taste in my mouth about H.265 from a post standpoint. The benefit of H.265 is that for the same quality, like visual quality, when you're watching the file, if you go through H.265, you can basically cut your file size in half because the compression is so much better. So what this allows me to do is take all of these exports, which I'm not doing this for like raw footage.
Yeah.
We shoot too much stuff to be like, we're going to archive everything we ever shoot. No,
Ain't that the truth?
we physically cannot. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But final exports of final projects, that we want to keep. I want to keep that forever. So I had been doing these things as H.264 exports. And as a result, I had something like 250 gigs of final exports lying around. By running those through H.265, suddenly I have reduced the size
Oh,
of our final exports archive by half, down to like 100 gigs, without
jeez.
any perceptive loss in quality. Yeah, it's insane. And the reason I wanted to like keep that kind of low is A, it just keeps getting bigger. The more projects we do, the bigger that archive gets. B, I wanted to be able to have that backed up offsite in the cloud. So that, let's say, the house catches on fire, the server gets, junked. We don't lose all of the work we've ever done. A
Yeah.
lot easier to back that stuff up to the cloud if it's a smaller file size. Because like when I first started out, I had this idea of like, oh, I'm gonna archive everything, not raw footage, but I'll archive all of my exports, and I'm gonna archive them as ProRes files. That lasted for about a month before I realized, okay, the way this is trending, I'm going to run out of space. I'm gonna need to have like an entire archive
That lasted
server.
almost a month.
Yeah, because once you start like exporting stuff and you realize how big ProRes files are when you have to keep them around forever, basically,
Oh boy.
it does not work. So big fan of H.265. That's my new thing. only for archival purposes, because it still is not it's a terrible codec to edit in. But yeah, that's my new archival process is H.265 videos, a clean version without graphics, and then a like dirty with everything baked in version.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will also do a WAV file with all of the audio tracks broken out, so that I can, like, if I need to, I can go back in later and like strip out just the dialogue or just the music to re-edit something. That's the main goal there. So that's my big thing that that was my new thing for this week, that I was like, cool, this is a big step up, and it's gonna future proof our stuff quite a bit. So I'm very happy about that.
That's something that I need to go through with my little archive system that I got going on here, because I'm back to like 11 of my 12 terabytes being full on my archive drive. It's fine, but I think it's because, remember, I did my spring cleaning, I got it down to like 4 terabytes or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just started shooting a lot more, and I was like, oh yeah, well, that was before they had the M.2 system that you hooked me up with.
Right.
So I was literally, everything was living on the archive drive. So I just haven't sat down and went through the whole process of like converting and doing this and spring cleaning it again, but
Mm-hmm. Well, and
I
then
should.
the cool thing is that because all this stuff lives in the cloud, you can just add your stuff to the cloud.
Yep,
And then
exactly.
get it off your local system entirely.
That was a good note. So mine is like 10 seconds long, right?
This is
Yeah.
you talking. It's not going to be 10 seconds.
All right,
Go ahead.
25 seconds. So we got the 5D. 5D batteries work with my version of the 6K, right?
Right.
And I've never used a battery in the 6K. One, I was using it earlier because I thought it was going to last longer. It didn't last very long.
Like a
So
half hour, maybe.
yeah, good to know. Not recording, so good to know that it's trash. Anyways,
Because they're the
I've
older
never.
batteries too. Because the
Yeah, they
6K,
are.
because we
Yeah,
discovered the 6K Pro and the second gen 6K use a higher capacity battery.
yeah, yep. And mine's just trash. It's fine. So essentially, what I've never seen before in my life was the little battery indicator on the screen, and it was flashing red yesterday because I didn't have a charged battery in it. I was like, oh, why is this little thing flashing red? And usually when things are flashing red, you like to touch them. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I did. And it went from saying like 7 volts or whatever voltage it was to telling me that the battery was at 18%. And I was like, that is pretty cool.
That's
So,
awesome. And I feel like that's new, because I used to use the internal battery on my 6K Pro with the
mm-hmm.
grip. Um, and it would actually show that, so that gives you a total of 3 of those batteries like running in parallel.
Yeah. Yep.
And it would actually give you like the voltage number for each. It would show like 3 battery icons, and you could see and monitor each battery individually, but it never gave me percentage. So I feel like that's a new thing as part of the new beta software. I could be wrong, but I never saw that. And I touched those icons to like toggle them between voltage and whether they were on AC or whatever. I could see the like little bar, like the meter of like how full the battery was, but it was like your battery was either full, half, or empty. Like it's not very
Yeah.
fine tuned. Um, so I feel like that's a new thing, but I just never noticed it because usually we're on V mount, and V mount, the battery sees
Yeah.
that as just like, oh, you're on AC, like you're
Yes,
plugged into
exactly.
something. We
Yep.
don't know how much power there is.
So I thought it was cool. It was
That's
a cool
lovely.
neat little trick.
Once again, bravo to
Not.
Blackmagic for continuing to update their stuff with features that are like honestly really, really nice.
Another thing that I saw.
Hmm.
Let's add to this 25 seconds.
Do it.
When I was doing the screen, I was like flipping my camera around to see the screen rotation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you can flip your camera all the way upside down. and it'll still rotate the screen all the way
It'll go
around.
to 180 degrees. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
could
was like,
see
what's the point? Why would I be upside down?
there are some mounting systems that, you would actually need to have it mounted that way.
Sounds dumb.
I mean, I used to shoot when we would do like kind of tasty style craft or cooking videos, and you've got your camera mounted like directly above a table, pointed straight down. Depending now, that's not upside down, but it would be very nice to be able to rotate that so that it's like with the perspective of the chef rather than having to rotate that in post. That would be nice. Or I'm sure there's like little like crane systems that mount the camera upside down for some reason.
Doesn't sound true. So, anyways,
I reject your reality and I substitute my own.
Yes. That's a good reference.
That's a great reference. All right. Well, I think with that, we're going to call it good for today. Brian's going to get back to playing with his new toys.
Listen, I have to build a rig now with I just have all these new things laying around. I haven't built it out yet. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's just sitting here burning a hole in my desk.
There you go. Well, have fun with all of your new adapters and Velcro pieces and whatnot. We'll be back next week. Who knows what'll have happened by then? We're actually recording this literal hours before Apple's WWDC conference, which I'm very excited about. We'll see what happens.
What's going to happen there? Yeah.
Maybe nothing to do with video, but that being said, iPhone video is still video, so we'll see. I will probably be nerding out about that for the next week. So, Brian, get ready for me to be geeking out.
I believe that.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, watching, however you're enjoying this podcast. Subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. Check us out on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.